they do music for us, we're just going to go.
Here we go.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's April 12th, 2012. Welcome to the Morin Report.
Howdy.
Hi, you must be Russ Morin.
Could be,
the
yes.
state representative. How are you?
I'm doing great, Heidi. How are you?
Good. You have a guest here,
I do.
over there.
The guy to our left.
Yeah, he comes here once a year,
Once a
would you
year.
say?
Kind of like Christmas.
Yeah, like Christmas, like Santa Claus. With the white hair, people might mistake me.
I'm going to get your beard for next
There
year,
we go.
Larry.
And that, of course, is Larry Spellacy.
Thank you.
And we'll get to Larry in a couple of
not
minutes, because
yet.
Yeah, okay.
we have something very important to talk about. We always start the show discussing things that are going on in town, and I don't know if anybody got to see locally the accreditation assessment that was presented to the Board of Education, and really that segues the needs. It said a lot of good things about our high school, but it also just depicted the glaring needs that we have.
Yeah.
And
And it's mostly infrastructure?
yeah.
Is that,
Yep. And I know Larry's a big supporter of the referendum that's going to be coming up on April 24th. And I urge everyone to vote. And I've come out publicly, along with, I think, just about every other elected official in town, to support the referendum and vote yes on the schools, because while we all recognize that it's a lot of money, I think in years past, we've kind of not, for hopes of getting things passed, we cut them down and cut them down. This is going to make the school a terrific place for kids to learn. It's going to help us keep our accreditation, which will helps all of us. It helps our town's value for bringing new people in. So I'm really excited, and I appreciate the work. The Yes to WHS group has been phenomenal. I've met with Martha Keneally and Deb Murphy, and they're doing some terrific work. So again, remember to vote in the referendum on April 24th, and a yes vote is a good vote. I want to talk about a few other things. Today is April 12th, so the show will only, those of you watching tonight, please try to support the Friends of the Eleanor Buck-Wolf Nature Center. They have their April in Paris dance tomorrow night, Friday, April 13th, from 7 to 11:30 here at the Community Center. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I will be there.
dancing?
Oh, of course. It can't go to a dance and not dance.
You and Grace dance?
Grace probably won't be able to come with me. She's got some other stuff. So
Oh.
I think they bring some of the animals, and so I'll have somebody to dance with. But it's always a good time.
Bring Tootsie the Wonder Dog.
Yeah, not likely. Also, this weekend, the 7th Annual Taste of Wethersfield is going to be held at the Keeney Memorial Center. And again, it's Saturday, the 14th, from 6 to 9:30. It's a ton of fun. You have food, drink. They have a lot of local restaurants bring their wares, and it's really good stuff. I really have had a lot of fun. There's a wine tasting April 26th at the Webb Barn to benefit the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, cool.
That'll be fun. Tickets are only $35. And then something that I'm always in favor of is the Unico Keene Foundation Golf Tournament. Both organizations do tremendous work for our town, and we're lucky that they continue to work. The golf tournament's going to be May 7th at the Wethersfield Country Club. It's only $160 to play at a private club, which is not bad at all.
You get the whole day.
Yeah, you get a round of golf with a cart. You get a cookout at lunch. The Unico guys put on a really good spread, and then dinner will be served at the conclusion. So I would, it's a great thing to support those guys. And now that I've talked about something you've probably never heard of is the safe graduation party.
What's that, Russ?
It's an all-night party.
Every single month.
Every month.
I'm going to talk about this even when it's over. But no, it's all seriousness. The safe graduation people are just working tirelessly to make sure that our kids have a safe place to celebrate their last night together as in high school. And so if anybody's interested in helping out, they can just contact me, and I'll steer them in the right direction. We've had fundraisers all over the place.
There are jars all over the place.
Jars all over the place. These are the same people that brought you the flamingos. These are the same people that they had a fundraiser at Wooden Tap, which was very successful. We had a dance here last week or two ago that was very well attended. So again, support Safe Grad.
And you and Grace are in charge of food?
Oh, yes, we're in charge of
is that
feeding,
for that night?
feeding 300 kids and all the volunteers, Larry.
And the volunteers too, right?
It's not just a job.
No.
Well, I guess
But
not.
it's good. So
Is it for eating all the way through?
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much like locust. But again, we're coming up with, it's really a great menu. I have some terrific people.
Like what, Russ?
We're doing like stations. We're doing stations. I can talk about that. We're gonna, instead of having more of a sit-down meal, we're doing like a slider station. So with little burgers
cool.
and little meatball sandwiches, and we're doing like a chili station with little hot dogs and nachos and
No.
sushi.
Oh my God. Now,
Yeah.
now let's say
Chicken wings.
that there's someone who doesn't have a child graduating but is really interested in coming and eating the food.
Absolutely. You can come, but I'm going to put you to work.
You got to volunteer.
Oh, absolutely. We need all kinds of volunteers, but it's really a good thing because we get a lot of help from the junior parents. They come and help us because we're all at graduation.
Yeah.
So the junior parents kind of come and get everything set up and help us get ready.
That's good.
And then
That's nice.
so I guess if anybody has any ties to restaurants or food businesses and they think they can help us get some nice donations, they certainly can call me. So, no, it's a great event, and I'm glad to be working with those people, Rita and the rest of the group that's all the chairs of the committee, because it's really amazing how many people are involved.
Yeah.
It's-
There's a
it's-
lot. I mean, you have to you're keeping those kids busy.
Yep, there's entertainment, there's a
Yeah.
DJ, there's music, there's all kinds of good stuff. And there's parents, different parents, or groups of parents are running each section and taking care of it. It's really a well-oiled machine.
The theme is very well guarded.
Oh, well, I understand it's a secret.
Yes.
I mean, until
been
the
trying
night
to-
of the...
yeah.
Till the night.
Like till 10 o'clock at the night of graduation,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a Tuesday
Bummer.
night
I want to know.
on the
not telling you.
19th. Right.
That is graduation.
June 19th.
It was, yeah.
So
June 19th, Tuesday night.
we're almost there.
I mentioned, Russ, that the volunteers work from maybe 10 o'clock till 6 in the morning.
Once we get you in the door, it's like the Hotel California.
yeah, right.
You can come, but you can never leave. Those of us that remember old Eagles music.
Yeah,
will
exactly, exactly.
But anyway, that's a lot what's going on. But the great event that's happening in town, and one of my favorite things that we ever do is our Memorial Day Parade. And everybody that ever comes to our parade always comments on the quality, the great route,
Oh, yeah.
how nice it is a place to view the parade, but also about the amount of people that participate and the quality of the music. And
Yeah.
and even though it's a committee, every committee needs a leader.
Right.
And Larry Spellecy is our leader, and he's done a terrific
Yay.
job for many years. I remember when you took over, when Rose passed on, and we were looking, and I know we had to lobby it pretty hard for a while. And
but now-
there was a little arm twisting.
Now it's fun. Sometimes.
But so we want to thank you, Larry, for coming on and for all you do for the parade.
Well, thank you very much, Russ.
The floor is
Mine.
yours.
All right, very good. Well, I want to tell you first off, the parade is scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of May, and it's a Saturday morning. It is going to be held, it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning over at the motor vehicles at State Street. That's the assembly place, and that's a perfect place to start a parade because there's plenty of parking, there's a lot of room for bands to get there, parents to drop their children off, that are Boy Scouts to Girl Scouts to marching bands and so forth. At 9 o'clock, we leave the motor vehicle department, we go up State Street to the monument at the corner of Hartford Avenue and Knott Street, and we have a very short ceremony there. There's a monument there that was erected in 1933, so we're talking, it's almost 70 years old.
Wow.
It will be 70 years old next year. And alongside of that is the current Vietnam Memorial. So we lay two wreaths. We lay one at the memorial wreath that's been there since, the plaque that's been there since 1933, and then we go and place another wreath at the Vietnam Memorial stone that's there. The parade then resumes or restarts, and we go down Garden Street. Now, Garden Street is a beautiful venue
Sure is.
to
Oh, yeah.
watch the parade at because, again, there's plenty of parking. There's a park there as we first begin, Mickey's Place and the school. It's just a wonderful area. On the other side of the street, we have historic homes. We have a lot of nice, beautiful trees. So it's shady. It's a good place to watch the parade. The parade proceeds down Garden Street until it reaches Church, and then it takes a left at Church Street and goes down Church to the historic district of Wethersfield, Main Street. In Old Wethersfield, we turn onto Main Street. We take a right-hand turn, and we go up Main Street, past all the historic homes that are the landmark of this community.
yeah, they're
And again, very, very good viewing places, very good places to bring your chairs and maybe an umbrella if it's a sunny day, and it should be a sunny day.
It will be.
It will be. All right, thank you, Heidi. We need that. We go down till we reach Garden Street again, and then we take a left on Garden and go down 1 block to Broad Street. That's where we have a reviewing stand. And I'd like to just pause here for a moment, because this year we're going to try something rather unique. We're going to have chairs alongside the reviewing stand for any veteran in town that would like to come and watch the parade. They sit right alongside the reviewing stand. Again, excellent place to sit if they're World War II veterans or Korean veterans who are starting to get up in age. We'll have chairs there. They can sit there, and it's underneath the tree, so it'll be shady.
What a nice
And
idea.
we ask all the veterans in town to just call the Parks and Recreation Department, tell them that you're coming, and we'll reserve a chair for you. So you'll have a seat there right alongside the reviewing stand, and you can watch the
Nice
entire
idea.
parade
Very nice idea.
go by. And then in the Broad Street Green this year, we're going to have a memorial flag presentation. And the Women's Club of Wethersfield and Newington are sponsoring this. And you can purchase a flag for a deceased veteran or for a current veteran, and we will place that flag, and there'll be a streamer, a banner on that flag saying his or her name. And we're going to have that right alongside where the veterans will be sitting, but right in the very prominent place on the Broad Street Green. So the entire parade will see, hopefully there'll be hundreds of flags there.
Oh, what a
And
nice
the women
idea.
that are raising the money, of course, use that for a whole myriad of nonprofit organizations in support, particularly of veterans organizations. So we think it's a great idea, and the town is very excited about it when they came and made a presentation to our committee.
And how do you go about doing that?
Okay, again, if you go on to the town's website, you can click on purchase a memorial flag.
Oh, good.
Purchase a flag. It doesn't have to be a memorial. It doesn't have to be for a deceased veteran. It can be a current veteran. You just go on there, and there'll be a telephone number where you can call, or a way you can purchase a flag. There's also going to be a couple of news releases that'll be coming out very shortly to tell people all about that.
I really
new
like that
program. Right.
idea.
Now,
That's pretty spectacular.
That's excellent.
and our theme this year is Welcome Home. It's a very short theme, but I think it speaks volumes, because what we're really doing is we're trying to make sure that every veteran who served our country is welcomed back into our community, into the town of Wethersfield, the state of Connecticut, and in the larger sense, the United States of America. So in keeping with that theme, we have selected 2 parade marshals this year, a World War II veteran, Jim Griswold, who served at the Battle of the Bulge, and is currently a resident of Wethersfield. And we have a current woman, Angela Pallone, who has served in the current conflict in the Persian Gulf War, and honorably served her country for about 8 or 9 years until she left the military service. She currently works at Hartford Hospital. So she's a young woman. So we have both ends of the spectrum, so to speak, the World War II veteran and the current veteran. But what we're really saying is welcome home to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as you know, when the parade terminates in the village cemetery, then we switch from the celebration to the very solemnity part of the Memorial Day program, and that is where we honor our deceased veterans. And even the deceased veterans, we're really welcoming them home, home to eternal rest. But we're also saying that thank you for your service. You paid the eternal price. You made the supreme sacrifice. You shed your blood so that we might have the freedoms that we enjoy today, the freedoms to freely choose who we want to run our country in terms of elections, the right to public assembly, the right to free speech, the right to free press, and all of the other rights, including perhaps the best criminal justice system that we have in the world. So what we're doing when we get to the village cemetery is we're honoring those men and women who gave their lives to our country, and we also try to personalize it every year. Every year we read the names of the current members of our community, veterans who have just died through natural causes at the end of the life cycle. We have 121 names this year. So we will read each individual name of the man or woman who served our country and have returned home and have since passed on during this past year, from the 1st of April until the 30th of March, or 31st of March of this year. So that personalizes it. And not to toot my own whistle, but people always ask me, well, who's your guest speaker this year? Well,
and Larry,
this year, who was it, Larry? I'll tell you who it is. The committee asked me to be the guest speaker this year, and they felt that I could talk about what it means to come home, to leave your family, to leave your home, to leave your community, and then to return. In my case, it was after serving in Vietnam in the late 60s. I served with the Saigon Support Command over in Long Binh, at Ben Hoa Province in South Vietnam, and then fortunately I was able to return home at the conclusion of my tour, and they thought that I could perhaps best carry that theme and talk what it is to leave your country, to leave your home, to leave your family, to go into the military, and then be deployed overseas, and particularly into combat, and then return home. So that's basically the topic that I'll be talking about, and I think that we can tie all these pieces together, and really as a community, particularly in Wethersfield, but in a larger sense through every single community in our country, say welcome home, thank you for your service, men and women. And there's still close to 100,000 deployed overseas right now in a combat situation. It is scheduled to wind down, but we never know. Tomorrow something else might flare up. So the point is, we want to thank our veterans, we want to make them feel welcome, and we also want to make sure that those who came home with disabilities and with PTSD, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, that we as veterans, that we as citizens support our government and urge them to provide them with the proper medical care, the proper rehabilitation that they need, so that they can resume their normal life, or as normal as possibly. We've made tremendous strides in helping the men and women who have lost legs to walk again, who lost arms. So we've made some growth here, but we still need to take care of them to make sure that they are comfortable in coming back. And again, say, welcome home. Thank you for your service.
You know, Larry, I'm glad you brought that up, because the Memorial Day Parade is such a wonderful event, and it's I don't think I've ever missed one.
No, you haven't missed it in all the years.
And you know, we talk about our veterans and the ones that are coming home, and you know I'm active at South Park Inn, the homeless shelter, and they have a program, because we have a ton of homeless veterans out there, Larry.
Well, I know we do.
Guys that come home that because, and a lot of it because of PTSD and different emotional problems, are not coping.
That's right.
And at home, at South Park Inn, they've started a veterans outreach, and they go out and they meet the veterans, and they get different organizations. I know Disabled American Veterans has provided vans, and they go around at the different shelters and bring them all to South Park a couple days a week, and they bring in representatives from the Veterans Administration to help these guys and ladies, because it's not just men.
No,
it helps them to get some of the service, to get them back on their feet.
Right.
Because people like you that have served our country, we can't afford to just say once you get home that we're done with you.
We don't. That's absolutely right.
You know,
Yep.
well, you're doing the work for all of us. So I want to, I always, we always kid around and stuff. But Larry, thank you.
Thank you.
Not only for your service for the Memorial Day Parade, but your service to the country in a very difficult time.
Oh, yeah, it was a tough time. There was no question about it.
When people like you were not welcomed with open arms necessarily.
Not necessarily, that's right. It took a while, but now, of course, we are. Now
Yes.
we've been.
The way we should have been all along.
That's right, exactly. And it's never too late.
Yeah.
Because as long as, it's never too
Exactly.
late, and that's exactly what
You're
we're
a true
trying to say.
gentleman.
We want to make sure that everybody feels welcome, and particularly our men and women who have disabilities, and as Russ
Yes.
pointed out, they've had difficulty readjusting, and I know in fact, I know you had your whole family involved in that.
Yes.
In that program, and I thank you for that, Russ, because it's men and women like yourself, your family, that really make these programs successful.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort, that's right. And I want to thank you for having me on here tonight. And remember, on the 26th, come out to the parade, enjoy the parade, stop over and visit with us at the Village Cemetery, and then go home and enjoy the
Let me
Memorial
ask
Day
you one
weekend.
question before we let you go. You talked about how, what it's like, when you left your family and
Yeah.
everything. Were you and Mary together?
No, we
then?
were not married at that time. No, I was.
So you didn't know her or anything?
I didn't even know her. No,
Okay.
I didn't even know she existed. That was 1969, 21st day of May exactly. On 1969 is when I left. I didn't meet Mary until 1978. So it was about 9 years after that. Yeah. So I didn't know her.
No
I was
offense, but the better half of the Spellacy family.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ. She'll enjoy that because she's home watching it.
But no, it's a great family,
Yeah.
and thanks for all you
You're
do
most
there.
welcome.
always nice
Thank you
seeing
very
you
much,
here, Larry.
Russ. Thank you very much, and enjoy having you on. Heidi?
Thank you
Good
so
night now.
much, Larry.
Okay.
Good to go.
All right.
Good to go, thank you very much.
Well, we're lucky to have a guy like Larry in town.
Oh, yeah, take this.
Now, if there is, there's no, let's see, what kind of ball games? Let's see, there's hockey games on tonight, the hockey playoffs have started. There's probably a basketball game or two on. I don't think the Red Sox are playing, or the Yankees.
Tomorrow night. Red Sox open tomorrow night.
Oof, they better start playing a little better, Larry. Thanks again.
You know one game up over last year. All right, take care now.
Bye-bye.
I know the Peters kid in the back is probably a Yankee fan, so I'm gonna have to.
Good, very good.
Take care of him later.
Yankees, good.
Yeah. So we do encourage people, however, at 7:30 to call.
Oh, yes, yes.
If you guys would be kind enough to put the number on there. We'd appreciate-
721-8814, that's,
Or 721-TV14. We'll try to help you out there, Heidi.
that was a friend's phone number that I just
It's a
wrote.
good thing you didn't read it out there, because people would be calling your friend and saying, hey,
Okay, 721-8814.
or TV14.
Or
How's that?
TV14.
Very good, Heidi. So-
Okay, good.
So we've,
Oh, it's always good having
That's
Larry
always
here.
good. It is. He's a terrific guy, and I love that parade. It's probably
Oh,
one
it's
of
the best.
It's a great event for Weathersfield. What do we have going now?
We got a whole lot of stuff going,
We had a
Russ.
late night last night.
Yeah, and that was the death penalty
Yes.
debate.
Yeah, it was really quite a debate. We started at 1:30 in the afternoon, and we finished close to 11, around
Wow.
10:50, 10:55. Very interesting debate.
Now, let's just do a little background.
Yep.
It passed the Senate.
They agreed to repeal it in the Senate by a vote of 20 to 16.
Yeah, that's right. This bill is to repeal
Yes.
the death penalty.
Yep.
So it passed the Senate,
Yep.
and then it went to the House.
Then that's how the process goes. It
Okay.
starts in one chamber. If it passes, then it goes to the other chamber. Then if it passes that chamber with no different amendments, it goes to the governor for signature.
And so around 9-10 hours.
Yeah, the Senate was longer. We were close to 9.5 or so.
The Senate was longer?
Yeah, the Senate, I think, went to like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Okay. And there are 36 people.
36 people.
And
right.
you have 151,
51.
and they went longer.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's see who's the longest-winded.
There might be a bit of that, but, we debated this in 2009, and I said then that it was probably the proudest moment you can have, because the debate, there's no politics, there's no, I don't feel there's any grandstanding, no matter what side of the issue you are on. The discussion and the debate is fascinating. And it wasn't necessarily like some things we do, it wasn't along party lines.
It wasn't, was it?
True, there were more Republicans that voted to keep the death penalty. There were still about 15 of us that agreed that we didn't want to see it repealed. And there were 8 Republicans that said
Repeal.
No, that said they didn't want to
Okay,
repeal.
didn't.
That sided. So it was kind of an interesting mix to see
Let's-
what was going on.
Let's talk about what your point of view on this, Russ.
Yeah. You know, I've thought about this for, well, since I've been up there, really. And, you know, I was one of the ones that voted to keep it in place. I didn't support repealing it. And, you know, I've received many emails and calls from Weathersfield residents, and pretty much 50-50.
That's very
You know,
interesting.
some, and you know, very passionate both sides. It's not like this is a matter of ambivalence where somebody said, I really don't care about this. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
people really
people
care.
care.
Either for or against the death penalty, people really care, and their opinions, and they're strong with them.
Yep.
And they're passionate with their argument. And so, you know, what I've tried to tell people is, for me, it's a very personal argument. It's not because I'm aligned with a political party. It's not because I'm aligned with anything. I've listened to advocates for the death penalty, advocates against. And, you know, after just listening to all the things, I just keep going back to people on death row. Look, Michael Ross finally was executed, but the two fools in Cheshire, the guy that, Peeler, that killed that little boy and his mother in Bridgeport, I personally don't feel that those people deserve to live. I think their crimes are so hideous and so heinous that I just can't. And, you know, trust me, people with religious beliefs came to me and said, you know, you shouldn't kill. You know, it's not the government's job to kill people. Do you think you're playing God? And other people said, you know, look what these people did. And, you know, people are always quoting different Bible verses, and people, just different stories. And, you know, I've talked to victims from both sides of it. I've had family members of victims come to
heard
me
both
that,
sides.
and that have said, you know, my child was murdered, but we want you to repeal this. We don't think it's right. We don't think, basically, simplistically put, two wrongs don't make a right. And then you listen to Dr. Pettit, and my good friend from Waterbury, Larry Butler, whose brother was murdered. And I listened to those guys, and you know what? I can't, and I won't say to them that I think it should be repealed. It's just, I feel that strongly about it, and you know, I'll take on this vote, you have to take the lumps where they are. If people aren't happy with how I voted, all I can tell you is I voted what I felt in my heart and what I felt was the right thing to do, which I do on everything, but especially this matter, there's no gray area.
No, there
And
isn't.
you can't spin it to make it one way or the other.
And you know how I feel
Oh, I
about the
do.
issue.
You've told me once or twice.
We've discussed
Yeah.
it, and
And you are a constituent.
yeah, I am a constituent.
Yep.
And I feel very strongly that it should be
Mm-hmm.
repealed. We've had many discussions, and do I wish you voted the way I see it? Yeah,
Of course.
but we've been able to discuss it,
Mm-hmm.
and we go on to the next topic. That's what you have to do.
You know, I will tell you, though, the last time we voted for it, it passed both chambers, if you remember,
And Jody Rell,
but the governor vetoed it.
Vetoed
And
it.
so I didn't feel the same way 3 years ago, because I knew it was going to get vetoed, and I knew there wasn't support to overturn the governor's veto. This time, I will admit that I do not feel good.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed last night, and when I went home, my colleagues, I left, and I came home, and I just sat on the chair and you know,
Oh, it's
put on
draining,
put
too.
on Sports Center,
Yeah.
because you know it's very emotional, and I was just watching things, and luckily for me, one of the 800 cats that seems to live in my house came and sat on my lap, and I tried to reflect, and I didn't have a good feeling, and while I'm very proud of the debate and the civility of the debate, I didn't feel good today. And you know, some people do feel good today. Some people feel that it's absolutely the right thing to happen, because the governor will sign it. I just don't happen to be one of them. And so it was a weird, definitely a weird feeling. I'm definitely not in a place where I feel, I'm drained. But as you said, you move on. You can't dwell on it. And there's people that when the majority votes, you move on.
Yeah, that's what happens. And, if someone, and there are some issues over which people some people are one issue.
Oh,
And I certainly
absolutely are.
understand that. Absolutely.
And what you mean by that is, I'll never vote for you again if you don't support my issue. Yeah.
Exactly.
I get that on a lot of issues.
Yeah,
believe it or
absolutely.
not.
And I think, this is a huge issue. But there's just so much else that you do that I'm so in favor of,
Hey,
So,
it's funny. Just a little story about this. I went to D&D Market last weekend.
good place.
Great place. And I was walking on. There's a couple guys from Weathersfield there, seniors, and I've seen them when I brought my mom to church at Incarnation. So one of the guys says to me, "What are you going to do with that death penalty?" And I'm thinking, "Oh boy, this isn't going to be good." No matter, So I looked at him. I said, "Well, I don't know how you feel, but this is what I intend to do." And the guy looks at me. He says, gives me a thumbs up. I said, "Okay." So that it's just kind of funny, but
You have that vote, Russ.
yeah, you never know. I might have gotten them angry at me on something else. But no, it was interesting. It's one of those debates. If you ever watch CTN, if you're suffering from insomnia, you see people. Sometimes the chambers, there's not a lot of people because a lot of times we're working on other bills outside of the chambers. We might be working on a bill, getting ready to bring it out, so we have to do work on drafting our statements and such. So, this one, it's like the only time I left was to go to the men's room or to, at dinner time, a couple of us grabbed a plate and then came back in and ate at our seats because you wanted to hear what people had to say.
Russ, I do have to say that I thought there was some grandstanding when I was listening to it. Or at least that's the tone
No, I think sometimes
that
it's
I
how
heard.
people.
And it's how I perceived it. I mean, these are your colleagues, so you know them better, but some people I do believe were talking to hear themselves talk. And I suppose they have to make an impression on their constituents, but, you spoke for what, 1-2 hours? Is that?
Me personally, maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I try to-
I'm kidding, Russ, yeah. That's what you should do. Get your point across and
Well, I don't know if you were alluding to my friend Larry Butler, but,
No, I was not referring to him.
Because, his was such a personal story.
Exactly, that's totally different issue.
But, and maybe there's a couple that want to
Yeah.
hear themselves speak, I suppose, but, it's it's definitely interesting, and, it's people pay attention. When people are talking and
Well, that is something different that I had seen.
because it's a noisy, chaotic
Yeah.
place. A lot of times, I like certain we have our speaker, Chris Donovan, but then there's deputy speakers that run, the chambers. And we have a couple that kind of let things get awry and, it's noisy and sometimes when I'm bringing out a bill, it's like all you hear is clutter and noise and it's hard to concentrate. So there's a couple of them though that rule with an iron gavel, and if they feel there's too much noise, they'll bang it and tell people, if you have to talk, go outside.
Good.
So it's pretty cool.
It must have been an interesting experience, Russ.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, it was long and it was emotional and it was, but again, it's good to be able to be part of it. Even though I'm not happy the way it turned out, I am very fortunate that Weathersfield's voters have put me in a position to be there. I guess that's all you can ask.
And, we've known that was your view.
Yeah, there's no secrets.
yeah, no
If
secret.
anybody asks me, I tell them.
Yep.
I try to do that. I get so many emails. I've been getting, on all kinds of issues. And frankly, some of the issues that people send me emails on, I'm never going to get called. Just due to the fact that they don't have any widespread support. But I answer people how I'm going to, what I'm going to do, and I let them know what my thought process is, and what I'll do. Or if some things you're really not sure until you get to them, because, like for me, I'm the chair of the Government Administration and Elections Committee,
Which is a huge committee.
It is, and I have a lot to do there. I'm on transportation, so there's a lot to do there, and then finance, and so you tend to be more geared towards the committees that you serve on, and so there might be something that comes out of environment that I won't know about until it hits the floor.
Yeah.
Then the trusty computer comes on, and you get to read about the bill. And the great thing about our system now is, like, you can actually, while you're online, you can read the testimony of people that came to testify about the bill. It's really
it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. So.
Except for not being able to see substitute language, but
Well,
that's
you
another
don't
issue.
need to see that. Come on now.
There's one thing the General Assembly does, and that's not, they don't get substitute language up on the website for people to read.
Well, we'll work on that.
Please do.
I'll see if I can do anything about that. I mean, there's a couple bills we've been, that my committee, I've brought out that have, come out, and it's.
Oh, yeah, a couple big things for us.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the constitutional amendment.
Yeah, we did that, when did we do that, last week? Yeah,
Was it last week?
yeah, last week.
I mean, no,
That was a tough one. I think that went on for about an hour and 45 minutes. And
you just have to take
basically-
questions, right?
Answer questions.
Answer questions,
Yes. Yeah, so people that don't like the bill, typically what it is people that don't like the bill will try to ask you questions and see if you know the answers, and then just try to poke holes in it. Typically, I have to say, I never get the sense it's personal. Sometimes
Oh, I don't
they
think
just
it's personal, I think it's issue.
Yeah, sometimes though, if you see certain people that other people
Oh.
don't like, you could sense that they're just going because they don't like that person.
Oh, I'd
They're
be
gonna
doing
make-
that left and right if
Yeah,
I were there.
exactly, that's why, but I mean, I like-
Usually it's the issue, though, that they have
this
problems
is the issue,
with.
yeah. And with the constitutional amendment, and basically what that did was, right now, early voting, or absentee ballots is in our Constitution. So we can't address it, and there's only 4 things you can use, to give an excuse for an absentee ballot. You're ill, you're going to be out of state, you're working and you can't get out, and I don't know what
Okay.
So that type of stuff. So even if we wanted to make it easier for you, say no excuse absentee balloting, because you never know. Maybe your husband's job, he has to travel, and on election day is Tuesday, and he always votes. But on Monday night, his boss tells him you have to go to Chicago tomorrow for a meeting. Well, then you lose your right to vote.
Yep.
So the no excuse absentee ballot is one part. However, we had a public hearing, and working with the Secretary of State and the Governor's office, they want us to look at either that or some form of early voting.
Okay.
And so for us to do that, we have to have a constitutional amendment. And what that means is, to get it out in one session, we would have to have 3/4 of both chambers. So about 115 representatives and 27 senators
Okay.
support it. Then it could have gone on the ballot in November. That being said, that didn't occur. It was a simple majority
Okay.
in both, we passed it in the House, they haven't taken it up in the Senate yet. So,
97.
yeah, it was
50.
97 to 50.
Okay.
So what will happen now is, it'll go to the Senate. If it passes, then we have to do it again next year. Because the law is for a constitutional amendment, if it doesn't pass with the 3/4, subsequent legislatures have to bring it up again. So we couldn't have even done it last year because we would have been the same legislature.
Okay.
So next year there'll be a different makeup.
Okay.
Some people, may be there, some people may not. And so we'll have to pass it again next year by a simple majority to get the question. All this is to just get the question to put on the ballot so
For
you can
us to
determine
all-
whether you think it's a good idea or not.
Russ, what would be the, a position against this? Why would someone not go for this?
Some
Is it-
people are concerned that there could be some sort of fraud.
Okay,
I think that there's safeguards in place. We have absentee ballots now,
yeah.
okay? And the thing is, I think the opponents, I think our opponents of this, they wanted to see just no excuse absentee ballot. They didn't want to see the early voting. And what does early voting mean? Early
Yeah,
voting
that's a
could
good
mean
idea.
anything. Lots of states do it. It means you could vote on a Saturday or a Sunday
Before
before the election. It's really what you would determine what you wanted to do. Some places do early voting 2 weeks ahead, going up into Election Day. So, and no excuse absentee balloting. People say, well, who would be against that? Right?
Yeah,
Well, there are people against it. And so for us, it's the professionals that do the job. See, because absentee ballots are handled by the town clerks.
yep,
Early voting would be handled by our registrars. So if we went, if we just said we wanted to do no excuse absentee balloting, it would affect directly the clerks, and they would be bringing their folks to speak against it and lobby their legislators. If we said we want to do just some form of early voting, the registrars are responsible for the integrity of all those ballots. So what the idea with this, and I've worked with the Secretary of State, is we want to ensure that we get people together, registrars, clerks, the chairs of the committee, some other people to discuss, Secretary of State's office, to discuss I'm very hopeful that, next year we'll pass this.
all right.
And get people together so we can discuss what's the best way. 35 other states, there's only a couple states that don't have anything. I mean, we and I think New York, I believe it's New York, are the only states that have it in the Constitution.
Really?
So,
Okay, I didn't
and so people say, oh, wait a second, you can't, I'm here to defend the Constitution, because trust me, I heard that for an hour and 40 minutes. Well, this was put in the Constitution by the legislature in 1918. And the reason that absentee ballots were first brought out were for the World War I soldiers. So it's like the argument that I'm here to defend the Constitution, how dare you change the Constitution, doesn't wash, because it was put into the Constitution by the legislature, by my peers 100 years ago, or
So you can
90 years
change it.
ago.
Yep.
So, for us, we need to discuss it. Some states do only early voting, only mail-in votes. Washington and Oregon only do mail-in ballots. There is no election day.
Really?
Really? Imagine that?
Yeah.
You would never have to go by all of us standing out there with our signs asking you to vote
Waving.
for us. Yeah. And some states do both. Many states do a combination of both. Some just do early voting. Some just do absentee ballots. So there's a lot of case language. There's a lot of cases out there that we can utilize right now to help us come up with something that's good and secure.
And without going into other rights in the Constitution.
Right.
Just,
Yeah. Right.
now, would you ever think of just removing it from the Constitution?
Well, that's what we want to do.
And doing a statute?
Well, that's what we're trying to do.
Oh, okay,
So what this will
okay.
do is, what we'll do with this is, if the voters say, yes, we think this is a good idea, then it comes out, and then it would be in our hands to come up with something
Okay.
that will benefit people, because today's voter is a lot different than the voter even 10 years ago. People travel more. They're busier. People working a couple jobs. They're more technologically savvy.
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing and brings up another bill that you've been discussing in your committee.
Yeah.
The online.
Yeah, online registration and online voting. Not online voting, but election day registration. There's two, it's again, these are governor's bills, along with the Secretary of State, that have pushed through our committee. And it's something that we'll probably be bringing up next week. And I've had to listen to a lot of debate on that, about election day registration. And again, people would say, because I think you and I were talking about it before, I've been voting since I was 18. My mother was politically involved, and so I've always just valued my right to vote. And my kids, same thing. When they were 18, because I was brought them to the polls with me. And I know lots of people like that in this town. I always see people bringing their children.
I love seeing kids.
And
there.
so, we're all saying, well, how hard is it to register? And it's not hard to register. However, the stories that come to us from people that came and testified, believe it or not, there's people, that say when they move, they think their registration comes with them. So they might have lived in Bloomfield and they moved to Wethersfield and then they go to vote and they say, you're not registered. So, well, yes, I am. I haven't missed an election in 28 years. Well, guess what? Then you're shut out. Sometimes, people that, bring their senior parent to live with them. They don't think. There's a whole lot that goes into it, and there's a whole lot of people that are for and a whole lot of people that are against. And I think the online registration, I think, is terrific. It'll save us money, because I think they said it's like, a couple bucks costs for somebody to physically come and register. Like, it's pennies to have somebody register online, and as
Now, are people concerned about fraud there as well?
To some degree, but I think it can be combated. The way this proposal is written, if you go and you say, I want to vote, and they say, well, wait a second, you're not registered. What they would do is you'd have to have some form of ID. You can have a bill with your, like a utility bill, or a birth certificate or a driver's license, something like that, that says who you are. You have to, you have to say who you are and attest to who you are. But then they're going to say, well, where you say I used to live in Orange, Connecticut, and I just moved up here. They would have to contact the registrars in Orange to see if you voted already. So, but there's a statewide database that can go on, and I think the people that are speaking against it, and I always like to be fair to those people, are saying, well, what happens when you bring in 200 people? Because that's what they're bringing is, they're going to bring in 200 people to vote, and who's going to be prepared to handle that, and you're going to create a havoc. I don't believe that to be the case.
Probably not.
I don't believe that to be the case, but again, you have to listen.
So has this one gone?
It's gone out of my committee, yeah. We're probably going to bring it out in the House again next week.
And what was your vote?
Well, I voted for it. I'm the chair of the committee.
No, you were.
It was like 11-4. I think Livy Florida, she's one of the Republicans on our committee from Greenwich. She's voted for just about every voters' rights bill out there. Very seldom does she vote against a voters' rights bill. The whole idea is to increase participation in elections. And as I've said when I've debated some of these things on the floor with the constitutional amendment, people today are busier. They're we want to make it easier for them to vote. And encourage young people. I mean, there's a disconnect, I think, with some young people. I look at my oldest kids, and they do everything online. They pay their bills online. They
You don't?
No. Grace and I write checks.
I can't remember the last time I wrote a check.
I know, but that's for another day. Touche, huh? You didn't know that I was going to come up with that right here, did you? But going on, so it's the people today are different. That was good. The people today are different, and our voters turnout is pathetic.
It is, isn't it?
And local elections, you're looking at 35%.
In this town, that's dreadful.
Yeah, and even in the statewide elections, hopefully a presidential election will get some people excited.
Are we 35 in Wethersfield?
For locals? Yeah, it's really bad.
That's it's funny. I tend to think of Wethersfield, because we place such a premium on education that it's an educated, well-informed town.
It is.
Yeah.
But, again, on the locals, I don't know what it is. I mean, I've always said since day one in '95 when I ran for the Board of Education, I mean, the local stuff, I mean, that's your biggest chance to impact things.
Yeah.
And obviously we want people to vote. We want people to come out and have more access, but we want to educate them. I mean, that's why, I haven't been sending out as many not flyers, but updates.
I know.
Because I'm trying to say, I'm trying to be respectful of the cost.
Okay.
I will send out an end of session report to highlight what happened, but I have not utilized my allocation of you know.
Yeah. Also, Russ, I just wonder if people know that all they have to do is go onto your website.
Yes. Well, they can go on my website, and then also we email. I get a lot of emails, and once somebody's in the system, we can just fire stuff off to them if they
okay.
want it. Like some people say we'd prefer to receive it by email. The hard thing is some people have said they don't want to get the stuff by mail. They want me to take them off the list.
Okay.
Well, I can't do that. It's not legal. Believe it or not, it's not legal.
Okay.
And so I've gotten a couple people, just a couple that were like, don't send me anything ever again. And we have to tell them I can't do that. That's not not legal.
interesting.
So that's that. But it's good, interesting bills, and we got a couple other good stuff, good things that are coming around. You're looking at the one about this Secretary of State's authority.
Yeah.
And right now, and let's 5 minutes or so left. Wow. We're going fast today.
You've been talking an awful lot.
I know. I think after last night. Let's
I
talk, briefly touch on that one. That was based on, I think, the October storms
Okay.
when it was so close to an election. And basically what we want to do is the Secretary of State saying, listen, I want to be able to get involved in when there's a disaster to help locals and determine whether an election should be held and postpone it. Because right now, there's really no way to address it. And for this to happen, and everybody says, well, wait a second, the Secretary of State's a Democrat. She's going to... What we did was we said the request has to come from both registrars, because each town has a registrar from both parties.
Yep.
So if the request only comes from one registrar and not the other, Secretary of State's hands off. If both registrars call and say, listen, we need your help.
Oh, what a good idea.
Yep, great idea.
That's a very good idea.
There's another one we're going to be coming up that's really going to be, I think is going to shape quite a debate, and I'm really hoping we can get it out. There's a lot of people that have the interest. Anything to do with elections in a building like mine brings people out from all over the place.
Can imagine.
And we have to talk about, the campaign finance. You know how we use the state, I used the state funding, and my opponent used it last time, and that's one aspect, but the governors and the state people use it. But what's happening now, and I think you've heard of super PACs.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now where these folks, and based on the Court Act, the court case, is these people don't have to disclose where their money's coming from.
In the super PAC.
In the super PACs. And these guys are coming in, and they're spending tons of money on all kinds of stuff. So she's telling me we got to wrap up in a couple minutes. But
okay.
So what we're going to do, we want to do a disclosure. We want them to disclose who they are and where their money's coming from. If you're going to come in, because a constituent wrote to me about the education bill that the governor was doing, and there was a group that came in, an out-of-state PAC, putting money and making it sound like they were coming from the governor's office, and they don't have to disclose who they are. So we want to see who's giving these people money, because you know who it is. It's big corporations, and it's unions too. So everybody has to disclose who they are. So we do have to wrap up. I want to thank you for being here. It was a quiet show, no calls, but sometimes that's fun. We can just talk about what's going on.
Absolutely.
The next show we're going to do will be the night after the end of session. So my eyes will be blurry, but it's good. It's good to talk about what we accomplished and what we didn't accomplish.
Yeah.
I always enjoy that show very much, as tired as I am.
That'd be good.
If I can, I may bring a friend of mine, a Deputy Speaker, Harris Simowitz. I'll try to drag him on so we can talk a little bit about where we've been. What else?
Let's just remind people what Larry said, May 26th.
May 26th, Memorial Day Parade. We want to say April 24th.
Referendum.
Say yes to Weathersfield High School. I urge all of you to throw in your support.
And support safe graduation.
Oh, well, of course. Do you know what the theme's going to be?
No.
No, neither do I.
Actually, someone told me.
Yeah, well, that some person's going to have to go in front of the...
I made that up.
In front of the panel.
No.
But,
no one told me.
Everything's good. We want to thank our volunteers in the back for helping us out. We appreciate it. Good night to all. Good night to Tootsie the Wonder Dog.
Good night. Thank you.